We are about to begin a very important discussion, or one-side discussion, about the diamond industry. So it's a serious situation. So we're going to take it slow. We're going to take it easy, and feel free to communicate with us using the chat feature or I think it's Q&A feature, and we'll try to go through it. First of all, I want to thank our Rapaport members, the subscribers, the thousands of people that support us. Without you, we wouldn't be doing this. I want to thank the Rapaport team, the research team, the presentation team, the web broadcast team. It's amazing how many people actually get involved in these webinars when we do them, especially when I do them. Just like to remind people, we have a mission to Sierra Leone. I'll actually be going myself with my wife, Rivka. It'll be a life-changing experience, and we would encourage people, if you're interested, contact us. Now, perhaps one of the most important things about this webinar is this contact information here, martin@rapaport.com. We monitor this email religiously. Anything you want to say to us will be noted and understood and dealt with. So if anybody wants to contact me and my team for any reason, please contact us at martin@rapaport.com. We are very much interested in communicating with people and say. The Rapaport Group is a kind of value-based organization. We deal with our values are in ethical, transparent, competitive, efficient markets. That's what we do. We do things that drive those things, like the price list or RapNet or auctions that we do recycling. So our values are ethical, transparent, competitive, efficient markets, pretty much in that order. We were established in 1978. We have about 145 employees, 9 offices, 6 countries, over 22,000 clients in 121 countries. And we're in the added value service, which means we don't actually buy diamonds for our own account. We're involved in 4 main areas of activity: information services, which the price list, the Rapaport.com website, RapNet, which is the largest diamond trading network, listings of about $9 billion, 1.7 million diamonds. Rapaport Auctions and Trading Services, where we are the largest recycler of diamonds in the world, and social responsibility, some grading and certification efforts. Rapaport.com will give you all the information you could possibly want about the Rapaport Group. So now let's get into it. Why are we here today? What are we going to talk about? First of all, there's the market situation. Where are we sitting today? Now, there's a couple of things that are definitely impacting and shaking up and changing the market. Synthetics is a major issue we're going to talk about. Sanctions is an important issue we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about an action plan. What can we do about these things? Are we just victims that sit there? And then a very short conclusion to this presentation. So look, we're entering a very difficult crisis period. Yeah, it's not just a little thing. It's not just, oh, we have a change in the economy because of higher interest rates, or higher inflation, higher interest rates, lower disposable income. That's true. It's interesting. But this comes and goes. That's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about a fundamental restructuring of the entire diamond industry. Big changes. Changes that will be long-lasting as well. So one thing we want to think about is real diamonds. And I use the definition of real diamonds the way the Federal Trade Commission says that you're supposed to, which is real means it's natural. There is no such thing as a real synthetic diamond. So when I use the phrase real in this discussion, I'm talking about natural diamonds. So the real diamond market is going to be reduced in certain areas. The attack that we've seen on engagement rings, that's going to go away. But you'll see the soft belly of the beast here is going to be the luxury, not the luxury business, but the fashion jewelry. So the position of real diamonds as a luxury product, like engagement rings, will continue and significantly strengthen over time in the long term. So my belief in the real diamond business is very powerful, very strong, very good, but we may have to go through some hell before we get there. And we'll talk a little bit about this idea of reduced. What do you mean? We're not going to sell natural diamonds? No, you're not going to sell KLM natural diamonds because you can't tell if they're natural or synthetic. So here's a good rule for you. If you get to the point that you cannot detect whether a diamond is synthetic or real, the price goes to synthetics, and synthetic prices, my friends, goes to the toilet. $10, maximum $100 a carat. But we'll get into that later. So we have to realize that synthetics are going to take a bite out of the diamond industry, out of the real diamond industry. Now, what's freaking everybody out are these price changes. And this is just 1 year. Actually, if we looked a little more, we'd see that it's more than 1 year in terms of, we go back to March, down 35% on those caraters. So we're looking at a market which is going down, and the rate of decrease, rate that we're going down is increasing. It's going down faster now lately. And so it's very scary. I think that people are afraid, and they should be afraid, and they should be warned, and they should be careful about what they're doing. Will this kind of a situation continue? It's interesting. I took a look at the Bears numbers just before this call. And by the way, it's nice to see the Bears has finally decided not to promote the engagement rings. They're experimenting, but I'm not talking about the Bears later. The way I see it is this: 2022 sales were $5,794,000,000 for the Bears. We're seeing a 29% drop in the first half. Assuming that drop continues, doesn't get worse, we're talking about a $4.1 billion year for 2023 for De Beers. And I'd probably think about the same 4 billion, maybe a little bit less even. Now, the question is, will this trend continue? Will we see continued dropping of prices? I'm not sure we will, but I would say go with where we are now. And let's think about a $4 billion De Beers year, which means a $4 billion year, which means most people would see, you'll see a decline of about 30%. Now, why are prices going down? What's happening? Reasonable question. It's obvious that synthetics are taking market share. I think that De Beers, whether, this is just traditional seasonal. No, that's nonsense. We're talking about synthetics coming in there and grabbing away sales. So a young couple buying a diamond engagement ring that's a synthetic isn't coming back to the store tomorrow to buy a natural. Not going to happen. Now, some of the changes that we're seeing right now, these bumpy changes, are short-term. For example, the whole engagement ring fiasco. People are saying 50% of U.S. engagement rings are synthetic. And I'll talk about that at some greater length. It's short-term. As prices for synthetics go down, don't worry about it. We will get the engagement ring market back. However, what are you going to do with fashion jewelry? I don't know. They say it's a big number, very big number. Do you think people are going to buy natural diamonds for fashion jewelry when you'll see the differences in price? What is it, 10 times or something the price? They'll probably buy fashion jewelry that looks good, that they feel good wearing, and it could be synthetics. And maybe the question is this word diamond. What does it mean? Just because I call something a diamond, does that mean it's okay? How about cubic zirconia, which I think that synthetic diamond prices will move to pretty much cubic zirconia, Swarovski crystal kind of prices. Now, I mentioned a minute, the synthetics will destroy the higher prices that you can get for real diamonds, natural diamonds, because you can't tell. As soon as I can't tell, it's not there. And look about Mele. Okay, Mele is a very interesting story because there might be demand for Mele from brands. I think there will be for natural Mele, for real Mele. But on the other hand, what's the cost? You take the -2.5, you take the -6. I'm talking about sib sizes here. Forget about it. The cost of detecting the goods is very high. Now, GI is doing some great work here. I've seen it. So we will be able to sell Mele that is guaranteed to be natural, but it's going to cost quite a bit more because of the testing that's required and the size of the stones. So what we've seen is this kind of scenario where the synthetic people, not just their diamond size, sometimes I think they're synthetic, but where the synthetic people have said, let's go for the low-hanging fruit. My gosh, we can get a 2-carat diamond. We can make a fortune. We can sell it so much cheaper. So they've attacked the bridal markets. Okay, congratulations. As the prices of synthetics go down to $10 to $100 a carat, and you're going to hear me say that a lot. Well, I don't know. What are you going to do? I'll explain that later. But what's going to happen with someone who wants to spend $5,000 in an engagement ring? What are you going to do? Give him a 50? You're going to give him a 50-carat, synthetic? I mean, come on. So what's going to happen over here is the low-hanging fruit of the synthetics are going to go away as synthetic diamond prices continue to fall. But, and she'll say, it's okay, it's okay. No, the next attack that's coming is going to be on the non-bridal diamond markets. Watch out, everybody. Particularly people in the fashion area that think about how are we going to handle those markets? What's going to happen there? Now, that's an issue, synthetics. Now, synthetics are going to change the fundamental structure. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But we need to be careful with synthetics. Very, very, very careful. Now, sanctions. You might say, okay, sanctions is not a problem. I don't know about it. It's not. No. The game is to see what's coming down the pipe at us. And sanctions are a real fundamental problem. We'll spend some time on it today in this call. But they're also related to global economic world war. This is not a simple story. So we have a hot war going on. Hope that'll resolve itself somehow, but I don't know if and when. But we're also talking about sanctions for all kinds of reasons, not just Russia. The game with China, huge problem over there. The United States is just giving China all this money. I'm thinking that maybe the Chinese military, I said their Navy, that they should create 2 new aircraft carriers. I think one they should name the SS Walmart and the other the SS Amazon, because it's our money that's giving them that money to create those aircraft carriers, for example. But in any case, sanctions are a real issue. We got to look at the deglobalization of the world. We were coming from a world where everybody loved everybody and helped everybody, was kind to everybody. No. There's another game taking place. You can see what's happening with the BRICS. You can see the efforts to change the dollar currency thing. I mean, it's nice they're trying. I don't know if it'll work, and I know it won't work in the short term, but that's telling you what people are thinking and how people are feeling and what people want. So China, Russia, and India is another axis. Well, I should say this. China and Russia and Iran, one thing. India, interesting company, interesting country, I should say. Africa, interesting. They're going to play the middle. UAE, they're going to play the middle. But we will be heading towards currency warfare and natural resource warfare in the medium to long term. That's going to be coming up more and more. And I think it's going to affect our diamond markets as well. There are economic factors, inflation, interest rates, disposable income. We've seen them before. We'll see them again. I'm not freaked out about them. But what I am interested in looking at is the strategic confusion that we're getting. Things are changing, but we don't know why. And so we look at the inflation rates, disposable income. We say that must be the reason. But that's not what's happening, really. We have to look at sustainable change, and we have to differentiate from noise. To me, the economic factors right now are more noise. They're there. They will change. But the advent of synthetics into the fashion jewelry business, or the way in which governments are going to sanction each other in all kinds of ways, that's big change. That's serious stuff. Okay, so those are things that you need to take a lot of attention to. So let's talk about synthetics. I mean, the obvious thing is synthetics are not a complementary product. This is a competing product, and it's replacing real diamond demand, but it's almost like a parasite. It's living off of real diamond demand. It's like comparing this to that. So I compare this, and I can give you a good deal. It's just like a real diamond. Not so good. I mean, because let's say if they called it something else, instead of diamond, they called it, I don't know, KCZ or ABC, you wouldn't see this kind of story that we're experiencing with the engagement rates. In any case, they're replacing demand. They are competitors. They're out to eat our lunch. Real diamonds will win back most of the engagement market, as I said, as synthetic prices go down $10 to $100 a carat. Yes, I'm predicting a 5-carat, top quality synthetic diamond will be at around $500. Okay. Retail, maybe retail to make a little more. It depends on the retail store. But study Swarovski if you want to understand where the synthetic diamonds are going, because they have a little bit better than the normal Swarovski crystals. Or you can look at Pandora is a different kind of a market, but you can look at Swarovski and you can say, hey, man, look at that. They got nice stuff, and I can buy that for somebody. And so you can look there and see how is Swarovski dealing with this opportunity of very inexpensive stuff. And we'll see how that goes. Now, the interesting thing is that the luxury market, so if you can look at the industry, say, okay, here's engagement rings, bridal, over here is fashion, that's kind of small stuff. And then you got this thing, I'm going to call it, I'm going to call it, luxury, but it's not really, they call it fine jewelry. That's fine jewelry. Those tennis bracelets, those nice pendants sometimes. What's going to happen? Well, it depends. Depends what we do. If customers feel that it pays to pay more for something natural. And I'm talking about a lot more because it's real. It's not just that the diamonds are real, but the prices are real. The prices have traction. The prices grab you. Okay. So if the person wants to give something to his girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, they want to give them something that's cool, something that's meaningful, especially in the context of love and marriage and exclusivity of relationship. They want to give you. I mean, I remember when I got engaged, I wanted to give my wife the best I could. So that idea of giving good stuff, that's important. But in any case, real diamonds are going to lose the fashion jewelry market, and that's the low to medium price points. I believe that real diamonds are going to get messed up there. But with the luxury market or with the fine jewelry market, if De Beers does do a job with marketing or with, and if jewelers do a job, it is possible people will want to buy fine jewelry that is with real diamonds. I think that market will be great. I don't know how mixed it'll be. I think we can capture it if we actually get off our butts and do things that we need to do to convince consumers that it pays to buy real stuff, even though it might be, who knows, 10, 20% more expensive. This is the story of an interesting thing that I did here. I asked my team to put it together. This is the actual total dollars, not per carat. So when you buy rough, you want to make a 2-carat diamond, man, you're like 99% cheaper on the synthetic stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. Cutting costs are cheaper because you don't have to watch every bit of the valuable rough that you may be frittering away. Cert costs are down, even like funnily, and other costs are. So the total is you're 98% less. So we can give you a 2-carat, nice FBBS diamond, beautiful synthetic diamond, 80% less. Wow. Now let's see what the rest of the story is over here. So yeah, I looked at the B2B price. I looked at the B2C price. Now it gets kind of interesting. I mean, 89% less because there's a markup there, but the markup of real diamonds, 32%, but 498% markup right now. That's not going to last for long because of competition, but 498%. But look at the jeweler's profit. It's down 61%. Okay, I'll grant you that it's much harder to sell a $35,000 product than a $4,000 product. Okay. But, and you got the big jeweler's profit margin in there too of 345%. So I understand why everybody is running along over there and saying, hey, give me that synthetic diamond, man. I want to sell it. I want to make that nice margin. But over the long term, as the prices come down, so will these numbers. So you're going to start seeing these goods at like $500. You know, you're not going to see $3,944 for 2-carat synthetic diamonds for very long, in my view. I think it's going to be more like, I don't know, $1,000 maybe, something like that. But look at the consumer savings, which is incredibly important there. You know, the consumer looks at this and goes, "Yowee, I can save $31,000." You know, so the question is how much they really want to spend. And let's look at this jeweler's perspective again. You've got your B2B price 97 below, B2C price 88% below. So it's $2,324 for synthetic versus $19,000. And then this is an HVS2, by the way. And what you're looking at here is the profit is 52% less. So the problem is going to be that the profit margin is up 390. But with all these numbers, don't want to get too into it. But the big idea here is one more number. Sorry about that. You see this over here. Okay, so cool. So we got a profit over here to the jeweler of $1,898. All right, he's making some money. Nice money, as a matter of fact. Look here, though, the consumer perspective. You're buying that 2-carat HVS2, baby. Look at that savings, $16,000 of savings. You know? So you're looking at a very interesting world for the consumer looking at this stuff. But you got to understand that the jewelry industry, by trying to sell prices, convinced this guy, whoever does buy this, don't spend the money in jewelry. No. So spend it on a vacation. Go spend it elsewhere. So this is a pretty dangerous game that synthetics is introduced here. Again, I believe it's not going to be sustainable because of the cheapness of the synthetics, the lower prices. Sorry, we have all these charts after each other. This is one more chart, but I'm going to kind of tie all this back in. So don't get lost with the numbers, everybody. Even my eyes are starting to glaze over here. But it's nice to see that Ritani is looking at a synthetic market of 122% and Blue Nile at 603%. As James Allen, I'm a little nervous about these numbers. De Beers, when they were selling synthetics, 276. So there are big profit margins to be had regarding synthetics, and this is why the business is doing so good. So let's see where we are. The big challenge over here in so many ways is that when a consumer buys this kind of a diamond, what's he going to do next? Are we convincing him that he shouldn't be buying diamonds? And I'll get into that a little deeper, but let me follow the slide. So the fine jewelry market has not yet been attacked. We don't find many synthetic diamonds under the carat. There are some, but not many. And when those synthetic diamonds under the carat come out for $30, $40 B2B, boomba, that's going to be a big bite out of the fine jewelry. Well, I should say the fine jewelry markets are going to get attacked. Fine jewelry can defend itself if we have good marketing. Like I said, I don't believe that we're going to be able to defend the fashion jewelry. The fashion jewelry market looks like it's pretty much gone, and it is big. So unless there's amazing good advertising from De Beers, and we'll see. So what do we got here? We got a Swarovski Pandora model of selling synthetic diamonds. Low value, high value. And that's good. It's a business. You get a nice 1 carat diamond for what? $100, $200. Yeah, looks great. Why not? You buy a nice CZ for something like $3.50 a carat, by the way. So the challenging in the market there is going to be the relationship between the CZs and the moissanite, the synthetic diamonds, which are going to come real close to them in price, and then way up over here, the higher value real diamonds. So if we're going to make a business and say, hey, let's sell this stuff with high volume, low value, I don't think that's a jeweler issue. It's not a jewelry item, but it's certainly a good Swarovski model. So I expect Swarovski to do well. I expect them to sell the stuff. I expect them. It's just such a beautiful game, But do you want to compete with them as a jeweler? I don't think so. Now, the independent jeweler model is more like high value, low volume. They court the customer, they play golf with them, they have that relationship with the community. So there's a lot of things going down on that end that you want to take a look. And again, this story of synthetics is going to bifurcate. It's going to be inexpensive synthetics that are going to take away business from the relatively inexpensive diamond industry, natural diamond industry as we know it. And then there's going to be another market, which is brands, real diamonds, designers, custom jewelry, higher price stuff. And that market will survive. That market will do well. But we're going to be selling to people we're not price shoppers. Okay. So another way to analyze this is to understand the impact on the market is why people buy synthetics. Right. And what cheap. I love cheap. And by the way, they're not bad people if they say, hey, I want to put $50,000 into my wedding or my honeymoon instead of giving it for a diamond because now I can buy the synthetic diamond, and she agrees, assuming she knows about it. So promotion of synthetic price benefit to consumers will reduce jewelers' revenue. So if you're a jewelry store and you're selling a lot of synthetics, your revenue, your net profit, your margins, wonderful margins, but net revenue down. So if you're not Swarovski or someone, you're not going to make it. Teaching, now there's another real problem that synthetics brought up over here, is that they're teaching generations of millennials and Gen Z to spend less on engagement. I mean, that is a crime. What business does that? They teach people, they say, you want to do something, spend less money. Come here, spend less money. If you're selling, I don't know, all kinds of cheap bicycles or something, but what? And they're saying, why spend more money on engagement? It's not just spending money now on this versus that. It's the whole idea that marriage and engagement, it's becoming Tinder-like. You get engaged. So what? I'm getting married. I don't know. I should get married. I shouldn't get married. Do I have to celebrate it? I believe there's going to be a backlash in the sense that we are going to see more and more millennials and even Gen Z when they grow up to be marrying and to be having commitments. I'm looking at all kinds of, I'm looking at TikTok, and it's amazing what's been going on there. A lot of amazing things, but it's going on with the women pointing out that they want guys, they want to get married, they want to be serious. And I look at this thing and I go, people are getting older every day. Millennials are getting older every day. What that means is that if a woman wants to get married, wants to have children, she'll probably want to get married, which means it's a whole other kind of exclusive relationship environment that she's going into. And that talks to real diamond. So we've been seeing this almost, I would think, temporary social phenomenon of, I call it the Tinderites, but we've been seeing that, but that is going to change as people get more mature and they get older, as millennials particularly get older. And don't forget that the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of humanity is going to take place as baby boomers like me pass on, and we give this money to these millennials. Not that they deserve all the money we've accumulated, but that's what's going to be happening. So millennials are going to be rich. They're going to have a lot of money, and they're going to buy diamonds, real diamonds. So this idea that we've taught all these people not to buy them will come back to bite us and hurt us. As long as synthetic prices go down to tens of dollars, $100 a carat, and as long as there are some money out there for millennials, I think we're going to be okay in terms of recovering from what is happening right now, which is not good. Any jeweler that tells their customers to spend less, not smart. So I'm saying that synthetic prices will be so cheap that their net revenue, even at higher profit margins, will be insufficient for a jeweler's survival. And here's a code. Jewelers can't live off synthetics. You can make a little money, you can have some fun. You can't live off. You can live off of real diamonds, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if people go back. We'll see how they play this game. But we know right now that we are now shifting out of synthetics for the engagement ring market, although I expect it's going to be very big this Christmas season. But as they get very, very cheap and the competition among retailers takes on, and as you start seeing these nice 1 carat, 2 carat, 5 carat diamonds on Amazon or eBay or wherever, it's just not going to be the product that you're going to want to get engaged on. Now, there are other consumers that say, no, I'm not a cheap guy. I walked into a jeweler. I want to spend $5,000, which is roughly the average, I guess, middle class or better Americans, or higher revenue Americans spend. Still spend the $5,000. The jewelers are clicking their ears. This is wonderful. If I can get people to keep their $5,000 spend, and I can make triple, quadruple, I don't know how many times more the margin of a wonderful business. And I think that would be a good business, except for the fact that the prices keep falling. Look, if synthetic diamonds were kind of stably 10% less expensive than natural diamonds, I think maybe competing product, I guess that'd be all right. But the fact that they're going down to tens of dollars a carat, $100 a carat, that means that people are getting in and then they're buying it and they're going to spend the same money. But as the prices go down, what do you want the guy to do with the $5,000 he wants to spend on his girlfriend and his fiance? You want to give a 50 carater? Okay, maybe $100 a carat. 20 carater? That's what you want to get? That's what you're going to buy your wife, some big stone like that? Go buy her a CC ring. So you're not going to spend $5,000 on synthetics for engagement. I don't think you're going to spend $5,000 for synthetics anyhow, anyway. I don't know how you can spend $5,000 in synthetics. Go spend $5,000 in cubic zirconia today. Go and figure moissanite, $80 a carat moissanite. So you want to spend $5,000 on moissanite? I don't know. But designers, people, they can find ways to add value. I don't know. I just don't find it to be a relevant product. So they will buy something else. We've taught the guy, you don't have to buy a natural diamond. We've taught him that. Now he's free. Before he came in with a mindset, I'm getting engaged. I buy myself a beautiful diamond, my girlfriend. I'm all set. Everything's good. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'll buy a diamond. Maybe I'll buy this. The synthetic took me here. Maybe that'll take me there. Rubies, emeralds, sapphires. I don't know. So how married are the wealthier consumers to the specificity of a diamond? They were, but they could change. So the damage that synthetics or diamonds are doing to the real engagement ring market, it's not going to help synthetics in the long run because synthetics are going $100. So they won't buy them for engagement. But it is hurting the real diamond business. That's what we're seeing now. That's why I say short term, not so short, medium. So synthetics are coming in, they're whacking us, they're hurting us, but they don't even benefit in the long run. It's just a short term grab. To me, that's the definition of a bad product. I don't know what the Federal Trade Commission believes that all products are good and viable, and the consumer is best served with the largest basket of products, which I agree with, by the way. And if synthetic diamonds were sustainable at a price level, I would say, great, let's go, compete. But we're dealing here with a hit and run accident, okay? And basically that's what we're going to see. And that's my definition of a, there's something like a public good, something that's good for everybody. This is like the first row at a wedding standing up when and everybody else has to stand up. It's a loss. So anyways, I don't like synthetics because of this, but this is why, one of the reasons they're a hit and run on the engagement market. Wow, am I moving faster today? Well, let me stop for a minute. Before I go into the sanction business, I think we have like 98, lots of questions here. So let me take a few moments. How are we time-wise over here? Let's take a look over. Well, not that easy. I would like to stop this part of the discussion about the synthetics and go on to something much more difficult and complicated. But I don't want to forget about synthetics. So Joshua, are there any really good questions about synthetics? And maybe I can just bang out one or two.
Yeah, there were some questions creating a price list for synthetics. There was a suggestion here.
Okay, so wait, let me take one at a time. I'll never do a price list for synthetics, because the thing about the Rapaport price list is that people look at it and then they say, oh, that must be worth that much. And I can't put on a price on a synthetic diamond that is dropping like poop from a good. I'm ridiculous. I can't do that. I'm not going to justify any price for synthetics. Now, maybe when I start doing CZ, I'll do synthetics. But we're never going to see a price list or a marketplace that we would create for what I consider to be a bad product. Lab-grown natural fine, De Beers can't see the lab-grown diamond. Look, De Beers is playing around. They're coming, they're going, they're looking, they're smelling. They got a new CEO. I don't know if they know what they're doing, but they'll bumble into it, because if they've been selling, what did I say? 5 billion, 5.794. Now they're going down to 4.113. And if they don't do something, then CEO better look for a new job. Their revenue hit is going to hurt the people of Botswana. It's going to hurt them. And it's serious. So they're going to have to spend, in my view, at least 5% of, not 5% marketing to sell their brands, and they're going to go and they're going to make the De Beers brand, and they're going to make Forever Mark, do whatever they want with that. But that's not the money I'm talking. I'm talking about how much money are you making from the sale of generic diamonds? 5% of that at the least you need to spend on marketing those things. Give me a new 3-stone ring program. Give me the same 3-stone ring program. Give me something, but real money. It's nice to spend $20 million. Yeah, $20 million. I don't even know if it's worth me paying attention to it. They need to spend, I would think, at $5 billion, at least 250, and I would think 500 million if they want to keep the business. They don't want to keep the business. Where are they adding value? Okay, that's the mine. It's good they know how to go dig holes in the ground, but the marketing genius of De Beers, what happened to that? So that needs to come back, or else people, and again, it's the fine jewelry market that will be the test. You can look at two things. You can look at how is De Beers sales doing? And I'm predicting a 4.1, maybe a $4 billion year if it gets worse. And we can test it. We can see how much are they selling? How much are they selling? And it's the revenue I'm looking at. So they may sell a lot but at lower prices. They may sell less at higher. I'm looking at their opportunity for revenue. So they're at a $4.1 billion year this year. Will it go down? Will we see lower revenue in 2024? It depends how they deal. In my view, it depends how they deal with the fine jewelry market. If they don't convince consumers to spend a lot more money on fine jewelry because they're getting a real diamond, they're in trouble. So we need to make sure we understand that. So they have to, it's not like, oh, they're going to do us a favor. And I don't want to hear all this nonsense where we're no longer the guardians of the industry. Hey, baby, you got $5 billion a year coming out of the ground. You want to see $2 billion come out of the ground? No problem. Just don't advertise. Don't market, because you have competition, serious competition. Are there any other things you can take all cut separately? And no price you like. Okay. If there's anything you see, Joshua, that I should address, bring it up to me. I don't want to.
Why not declare synthetic as not diamonds, that they're just not diamonds?
Well, like I said before, the Federal Trade Commission is of the view that consumers are best served with the broadest basket of products. And I agree with them. As long as there's proper disclosure, as what I'm going to talk about. And I will talk about disclosure later. I maybe let's do it now. One of the major problems with synthetics is that people aren't telling the truth. They're telling half the truth. I mean, when you go and you testify in court, and I just the whole truth, they say. I want you to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It's not what's happening with all of these companies selling synthetics. They say it's exactly the same. Some of them even say it's real when you can't even use that phrase. But the Federal Trade Commission believes that it's good. I believe that with proper disclosure, it's good. Without proper disclosure, consumers are getting ripped off. That's what I see. So one of the things that we're going to talk about in our action plan is, in fact, a petition to the Federal Trade Commission related to disclosure requirements for synthetic diamonds. Again, I wanted to emphasize that, but did I go off track with you, Joshua? What were you saying there? The question was?
No, that's fine. Yes.
Yeah. All right, good. We answered it. Okay, I'm going to move along now because I got some heavy stuff to talk about. So the synthetic thing is real. It's going to take a nice bite out of the belly of the diamond industry. De Beers is going to have to do advertising. Hey, look, they don't want to sell the diamonds. You don't want to sell the diamonds. Consumers are just going to buy synthetic. So if you want to push your product out there, you're going to have to market it. It's not just marketing also. Jewelers have to sell the stuff. A guy walks into your store and you say to the guy, "Oh, I could save you money." What kind of jewelry? What kind of businessman are you? It's ridiculous. So stop selling price. And I think they sell price because they don't understand diamonds. They don't have confidence in diamonds. Okay. Let me now go to this other thing. The synthetic problem is real. But it's there. You know what's going to, it is what it is, my friends. I'm not worried about high end. I'm not worried about luxury. I'm not worried about wealthy people. And there's a lot of wealthy people out there. I don't, maybe real diamonds aren't for everybody. You don't just because someone walks in your store. So I'm thinking that synthetics, okay, we can handle it. It's going to be a smaller market for us, but we'll focus and we'll sell nice people that have money, nice diamonds. Real diamonds for real people for real money. Now I have another problem that's coming up, which is unbelievably terrible, complicated, terrible. So what we have is a scenario over here where the president, first of all, Russia decides to go and attack. Not nice. Human rights abuses, all kinds of problems. America and the West feels it's unjustified. China and Russia feels it's justified. I think of the Russian missile crisis. When I was a kid, they put missiles into Cuba. And my father herded us into the basement. And the Americans said, "You can't put this." So people try to justify this invasion. Personally, I don't like invasions. I don't think anybody does. And I'm an American. I'm an American. I'm going to talk a lot about America now. Listen, my perspective here is going to be the American perspective. I'm an American guy, American company, America written all over. So the American's perspective is that it's a terrible thing, and I agree. So we should stop buying guns. So what happens? The president of the United States, who I have to respect, he's the president, capital P, says, "I'm making an executive order. No more diamonds in Russia." Respect you, Mr. President. And then he comes out with this statement, this executive order that uses the word origin. And what that means is that if you take a Russian diamond and you cut it in India or Israel, or wherever, like all the diamonds were cut. The vast majority, I don't know, 95, 98% of them are cut outside of Russia. That's how it's always been. It's full. It's no longer a Russian origin. Now it's an Indian Russian origin, Israeli origin. So what we see with governments is they like to play games with terminology. Anybody hear about conflict diamonds? You might think that those things are stopping human rights, but it's not. It's a word game. So now, honestly, you think the president of the United States is stupid? I don't think so. I mean, come on. He knows what he's doing. He's got good advisors. Well, I shouldn't say good. He has advisors that are interested in his interests. He has interest-driven advisors that say to him, "You can't really sanction Russian diamonds because the Indians need to sell them to America, and India is a very important strategic relationship with us for the purposes of national security. National security. Okay, I can light sheet stack and bullshit around. Fine. So the president of the United States comes out with a presidential executive order that does nothing. It's kind of embarrassing. It wakes the industry up. Then Al Rosa comes out, then the OFAC, Office of Foreign Assets Control, United States Treasury, they come out with a list of sanctions. We are sanctioning Al Rosa, which is stronger than the presidential executive order, because sanctions is a big game. We know about sanctions. We don't pay people to go to jail. There's a whole story with sanctions. And now we have this question facing the industry, which is, I'm just looking at the time here. I got to get moving. We're going to be about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. And then I'm looking at this thing and saying, what the hell's going on? I'm defining Russian source diamonds as diamonds that are purchased from Al Rosa and manufactured outside of Russia by some kosher people, by non-sanctioned entities. What about those diamonds? So is the origin loophole still effective if it has an OFAC sanction? Because the word isn't their origin, it's a sanction on the entity. And can the U.S. trade, that's us, buy Russian source diamonds? Are we buying them right now? In my discussions with some of the people, yeah, of course we can buy them, no problem. Is it really no problem? Let's say we have other sanctioned entities and, you got a company, well, Zimbabwe's a good example. You have a sanctioned entity and then you go and you change the item a little bit. You do some kind of transformation. Is that okay? So there's lots of issues here. Now I've gone and I've worked on this and I've sent a letter to OFAC in February. And I said, could you please tell me, we're running the world's largest diamond trading network. We are in the business. We're doing auctions of goods. Okay, none of our goods come from outside, they're all American. But what's the deal with these Russian goods? Can we list them in Rapaport? What's going on? And we took an ethical position not to have people list them in Rapaport. But can you actually sell diamonds in America, import them, trade in them, if they come from Al Rosa, but they've been substantially transformed? No answer. No answer. I don't understand it. Why wouldn't the government answer? Why would the president of the United States issue an executive order that's meaningless? So what's going on? I think we have to understand that people have interests. They're not evil. If I have a second, Harold Jeter was the guy who really made the Kimberley process work. He was the Undersecretary of Affairs for African Affairs. I talked to him about kosher diamonds in 1999. But he told me, I said, why don't you stop the guns that are going? I think they were coming from the Ukraine then. We see them. Why can't you stop? He says, we have a deal. Nuclear weapons, they're going to give us. We will not bother the country with conventional weapons. He's right. What do I know? Give a terrorist organization nuclear weapons. That risk. I'm not the president. I can't make those decisions. Okay. But the United States of America has strategic interests that are way beyond anything to do with diamonds. So India is a nuclear power that acts as a buffer or balance between rapidly expressing China. China, you got America, you got tension, you got Russia cooking in the side, a little North Korea and Iran mixed in. And then you got India, which is a nice, normal, so to speak, country. We need India. We have to love India. So what are we going to do about them? India wants to continue exporting Russian source diamonds to the U.S. So the president of the United States, in spite of all the hoo-ha coming on, you'll see with this State Department nonsense. But does he really want to stop Russian source diamonds from coming into the United States? What do you think? I don't think so, which is why you get the double speak. So we have sanctions that don't work because we don't want to upset the Indians, which is legitimate. It's legitimate not to want to upset the Indians. How do you balance these things? The president of the United States, that's his job, not mine. So the U.S. government wants to look good at the expense of the diamond and jewelry industry. So that's greenwashing. It's just like the Kimberley process. Do you think the Kimberley process stops diamonds that are involved in human rights abuses from entering our distribution channel? No way. Nothing. So, but we do it. We make the motions. We want to look good. So the diamond industry is, I don't know, what are we? Some kind of a cosmetic thing that they can play around with the governments. That's what's been going on. Now, look, this is half year Al Rosa sales. These are Al Rosa sales. So yeah, Al Rosa took a hit in 2022. They lost 300, whatever this difference is over here. It's not much, 380, 480, a couple $100 million. But look here, they're back at 1900 now. This is data from them. This is here. I don't know how perfect it is. Who knows what's going on with it these days. But hey, the impact of the President of the United States executive order is zip. All right. I think that proves the point that he may not want to. The interests of the United States government, they're not going to be the same as the interests of the diamond and the jewelry industry. They may be the same as the strategic partners. So we need to bear in mind that governments are not there all the time. For us, they have different interests than the interests of our U.S. diamond and jewelry. And I'm going to talk a lot about the United States diamond and jewelry industry here. It's the most important, man. This is where the money is. This is where the diamonds are. So you shut down America and you can really eat your diamonds. Okay. So America is who buys the diamonds. There's another thing here that really bothers me a lot. And I actually went to testify in Washington it was during the Republican, it was during Trump's era. And the relationship with the US government is terrible. Horrible. It's just ridiculous. And it's not just this president, this administration, this political party. The United States, the jewelry industry is not relating to the government at all in a rational way. Let me explain to you why. Take a look at this. The United States has a diamond and jewelry trade deficit with India of over $9 billion each year. That means every year, India sells us $9 billion more of diamonds than we sell them, and we sell them peanuts. Data looks a little funny because the jewelry shows they import and export. Yet US companies are locked out of the Indian markets due to high tariffs. They sell us, they make $9 billion, we are not allowed to sell them. India is the third largest and fastest growing diamond market in the world, and we can't sell them. But we'll buy $9 billion from that, more than $9 billion trade surplus. So what am I talking about? Look at this. Diamonds, 0% in the US. Sell us all your diamonds, no problem. India, 7.1%. Trade deficit, 1 year, 6.2 billion. From the 2022 timeframe, it was 76 billion just on diamonds. Gold jewelry also 28.8%. If you have a nice piece of jewelry, high-end jewelry, Tiffany jewelry, Cartier, you can't bring it into India. The tariff is huge. We're 5.5%. They're 28%. And that, by the way, there are additional charges they add on. But let's just look at the official tariffs. So what we see is that over the last, from 2000, the United States has given India a wonderful gift of $111 billion. And no one in Washington is willing to say, reciprocity. You charge us 7.1, we'll charge you 7.1. They did that in 5 minutes. No problem. There would be no duty in India. But we don't stand up for ourselves. My father would call us schmuckalanis. We're schmuckalanis. We don't stand up for our rights. We don't stand up for our stuff. And that's why we can't sell India, which is a huge market, where if the United States really cared about us, there'd be something going on here. So this is actually not a good graph because it includes imports and exports. And then I'd like to talk about one other thing about our relationship with government as to what's really going on. Now, I can't tell exactly what's going on because, frankly, I'm a little busy running my own business to start running the American government's business. But we looked at the data. It's a miracle. Diamonds under the half carat in size, somehow, if there's many wondering, I don't know if it's money, but somehow, $2 billion a year, we are exporting small diamonds, Melody, more than we're importing. Now, we are the largest recycler. We sell melee from American pawn shops and stuff and refiners. But that's ridiculous. Look at what's going on. Take a look at 2022. 4.695 billion, that's billion. 4.695 billion we exported, and we imported 2 billion. And these are not synthetics. You go back to 2000, you're talking about $45 billion. Now, those exports are getting paid for. Somebody is wiring that money to the United States. Either this is some kind of a statistical problem, which it could be. I don't know what the American government statistical people are doing. Or it's the beautiful $45 billion money laundering that's going on at the tune of $2 billion a year. The United States government can figure this out in 5 minutes if they want to. So all of the United States data is pretty much screwed up because I can't trust their data under the half carat. Doesn't make any sense. Unless, of course, they're smuggling the goods in and then they're exporting them out. I don't know. This sucks. This stinks. So what have I said? I said, we got a problem over here with the United States government. We got a problem how they're handling the sanctions with Russia. We have a problem about tariffs, and we have a problem here in terms of this money laundering stuff. All right. And you ain't seen nothing yet. It's cute. All right. So, okay. Governments. But we have a new thing going on. They had so much fun telling everybody that America, oh, it's great. We've stopped sanctions. We were stopping the diamonds from Russia. Well, they weren't doing it. They're actually greenwashing it. They're lying. And now they say, oh, this was so good. Let's do some more of it. So the wonderful United States State Department, the State Department does a lot of good things. I got to say, the State Department has got wonderful people doing wonderful things. However, they have to represent the interests of the administration. And the interest of the administration is to fool everybody, is to create optics and to fetch the diamond industry. That's okay. That's what they'll do. Anyways, the State Department has decided that they're going to go with the G7. And with this G7, they're going to control the flow of all diamonds, including polished diamonds, to stop the importation of Russian diamonds into the US. All right. It's a legitimate cause. If I tell you the truth is, I would support this if they really did it and they weren't some kind of a greenwashing fakers, but okay. So what they did was then they hooked up with the World Diamond Council, which I must tell you is a catastrophically terrible organization, to create a WDC G7 protocol, fancy document. I think it's 18 pages or 14 pages, complicated as hell, for all diamonds imported in the US, G7 countries. And these protocols are designed to track all diamonds everywhere if they're coming into the United States. I mean, if an American retailer or dealer sells a diamond to a retailer or to another dealer, oh, we got to know, we got to have all kinds of stuff on your invoice. We got to be able to track it, 3 years of records. It's unbelievable. So they've created this miserable thing, okay? And they want it's just a horrible document, okay? So the catastrophe of the World Diamond Council protocols is that they're a death sentence for the small to medium-sized companies in our trade. They don't have the human and financial resources to screw around with this stuff. So basically, what's going on, it's a power grab by the big boys. The WDC, World Diamond Council, big boys. And I tell you that in my opinion, the World Diamond Council is a front for some large companies. I may remember their names or not, but it should be obvious to everybody. So what's going on here? Well, it's a market power grab. And let me explain how it works. The World Diamond Protocols are heavily biased in favor of large companies against small and medium-sized companies. They will enable the mining sector to control the polished diamond markets through selective distribution of auditable rough diamonds. So what happens is this, companies, the Bears, example of a company. You want to buy my diamonds, I'm able to audit my diamonds. So you want to buy my auditable diamonds, you got to be a side holder. And we'll tell the side holders how they can sell and who they can sell. So what happens is this will extend the power of the mining companies all the way into the polished market. Smaller companies who have access to auditable rough or polished, controlled by the larger companies, forced out of business. You think the Bears sales went down 29%? I can see the issue here of the smaller jewelers in the United States going down by 29%. Maybe some of it's going to be because they're older and they're baby boomers and their kids don't want to go into this business. That's fine. But I'm telling you, it's horrible. So the WDC proposal not only segments diamonds into auditable and non-auditable categories of diamonds and separates them, it segments people. You're a big company. You have employees. You can track everything that happens every day from every invoice. You're a little guy. You can't do that. Go away. Go away. You can't even, you're not in the game. Furthermore, we can't ignore the fact that the WDC is highly influenced by the big companies that fund it. I like to see, where does the WDC get its money? It is in the big company interest to eliminate smaller players. That's what they want. Less players, less people, less competition, less market competition. No competition, you got to come to us, you got to buy by us. I am very concerned about this World Diamond Council thing. I'm concerned about the role of the Bears. I'm concerned about the world of Signet. I'm concerned. So what? Warren Rappaport's concerned. The WDC proposal will reduce market competition and destroy existing efficient polished markets. It's going to push the industry into the hands of the big people, which is a crime against the small people. And that's what we're facing over here with this WDC G7 kind of a thing. Now, they're encouraging people to sign up for this thing. Oh, just don't bother reading it. I read it. It's not easy to understand. Don't just sign that you agree. You let us run your life. You let us destroy your industry. Don't sign it. It's terrible. I'm telling you, don't sign anything the World Diamond Council or the World Federation of Diamond Bushers puts in front of you. Certainly don't say anything until you have read it and understand it. And I challenge you to understand it, by the way. So you can't live that way. You simply cannot allow these outside companies to screw up the American market. Not acceptable. So the way forward is to offer an alternative and straight and simple G7 protocol if they really want to do it. And I don't even believe the G7, which is led by the United States, really wants an effective sanctions to work because they're in love and they have to be in love with India. But let's assume that for these 10 minutes, they're honest. Okay, so then let's come up with the real way to do this. Okay, so we have to come up with another program. The US is the most important diamond market because we buy much more diamonds than anyone else. But the United States jewelry industry has been treated like garbage. It's time for us to wake up and take action. We are more important, most important. Yes, we're mistreated by all these foreigners who just want to take our money. They don't want to give us any rights. They don't want to give us any power. And they want to control how our industry works within the United States. It's time for us, when I say us, I mean the United States diamond and jewelry industry, to reach out to our government representatives and ensure that the legitimate interests of the United States diamond and jewelry markets are supported and protected by our congressional representatives. State Department's not going to protect us. Administration's not going to protect us. Fish to fry. They got their own priorities. They have national security issues. Our congressmen, our senators, that's the power that we have to rely on. You know, it's interesting. The State Department told these guys, you should know that whatever offers you're going to make, like this G7 proposal I'm going to show you from Rapaport, no, it's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. We're going to not accept it. Who the hell are you not accepting, Mr. G7? Who the hell are you to tell the United States jewelry industry how to track its business? And who the hell are you to tell us, you World Diamond Council people, how to clean up the diamond industry when you're sitting on Zimbabwean goods, when you're supporting the KP that's certifying Russian diamonds right now as being legitimate, Kimberly processed. Go away. Onwards. So what's this Rapaport proposal? Very simple. All diamonds imported in the United States or G7 will require a declarative statement by the importer and overseas supplier stating, to the best of my knowledge, that means not only the guy who's importing, but the guy who's selling the guy who's importing. To the best of my knowledge, the diamonds being imported do not originate from any U.S. sanctioned entities. Why do I say U.S. sanctioned entities? Why do I say Russia? Because I strangely believe that the life of a black person in Zimbabwe is no less worth than a white person in Ukraine. Human rights abuses are human rights abuses. Okay, I'm a little crazy. I'm not normal. Here you have an attack by Russia. So maybe there's an argument to say that Russian sanctions are more important than other sanctions. But in the meantime, they want to change this and say not U.S. sanction. They can say from any Russian source. Still don't know what source it is. You know, I think that the United States of America, even with all of this exercise, still hanging on to this idea that, oh, it was substantially transformed, so it's okay. If that's the case, then all of this is meaningless. But anyways, let's assume that somehow you'll see, we're going to get off back to answer. Now, if you're a G7 country, we would say your sanctions, because the United States sanctions aren't the same as Belgian sanctions, aren't the same as, I don't know, other G7 country sanctions. That's it. No writing on invoices, no making people crazy. Once those diamonds are in the United States, they are home free, clear. Make us crazy, don't destroy our industry. That's my proposal. And I'm going to go out and see if we can get people to support it. I'm absolutely 100% opposed to the horrible, terrible proposal put out by the World Diamond Council that's going to tie us up in enough paperwork to kill us. You want to talk about environmentalism? How about we stop killing all those trees? So what's our action plan? What are we going to do? This is that. So first of all, we've got to go and get our own political power and strength. The U.S. diamond jewelry trade can protect itself if and only if, that's a strange, if and only if. We reach out to our congressional representatives, senators, and congressmen. They can and will protect our interests if we communicate with them. Votes count, so we're going into an election. It'll take effort, take coordination. Every congressional district has members of our trade in it. Our industry operates at the local level. We are influential members of our communities. We must use our relationship to help us communicate directly with our representatives, explain our issues, and request their help. Help! We have to work together to sign petitions. And Rapaport will help you, and you'll help us, and we'll figure it out. We work together and sign petitions to U.S. government agencies stating our needs. These petitions should be supported by regulators. So what's the plan? Say we go to OFAC. We say, OFAC, we sent you this letter from Rapaport in February. You're not answering maybe because of political reasons. Guess what? Here's a letter from 100 congressmen saying, please answer that letter. We, the elected representatives of the United States, we want to know, can you import Russian source diamonds that are cut outside of Russia? Yes or no? Because our constituents, the people that vote for us, want an answer to that question. So, Mr. OFAC, we have a lot of respect for you. You're a wonderful organization. You do great things. Please respond to this question. I think it's in the question themselves. It doesn't have to come from Rapaport. But let Congress ask the question to OFAC as well and say, what is the deal with these goods? And it's very important because if, in fact, they're going to say you cannot import Russian source diamonds that are cut outside of Russia, then we may have real sanctions that'll work. Then maybe there's something we can do about it. Now, so we're going to be sending out emails with links to action items that you can sign onto and support. We will communicate positions that we believe are the best interests of the U.S. trade. If you agree with them, then sign on. We're going to use the internet. We're going to use petitions. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that we have a grassroots movement in the United States, from the United States, that's going to counter things. I mean, I cannot believe that the State Department of the United States comes to us and says, we'd like to know your views, and then tells us, this is not accepted. You have to go more. Then the world, oh yeah, we need more. We got to give more because they told us they won't accept it. So let's come up with all these sanctions. Not sanctions, all these rules, all these tracking, tracing, inventorying, invoicing, auditing. Let's do all this horrible stuff because it's in the interest of the big companies that support the WDC. Got to understand, guys. This is very simple. I'll go through the next slide. You're going to see this. This is not a simple story. There are interests at play here. And they use the government to promote their interests. Governments, not necessarily to stop the importation of these diamonds. I'm all for stopping the Russian diamonds if it's real, if it's not greenwashing. But I cannot support what these guys are suggesting because there's better ways to do it. And so I came up, what did I say? I said, here, let me know who the importer is. Let me know who's giving him the goods. Give me the names. And then if the government wants to investigate them, follow the money. Our job is not to do the job of enforcement for the United States of America from their sanctions. Government wants to enforce sanctions. They have OFAC. They can enforce sanctions. They can see all the money. But do not put this on our trade. Anyways, ours. So what are our action points? First of all, regarding sanctions, I'm asking people to let the government know that the World Diamond Council does not represent everyone in the diamond industry. They don't. They've been able to convince or confuse or collaborate with various heads of World Diamond Federation, this, that, but this is not the people. This is not the jewelers. These are not the people who are really doing the business in America and driving the diamond business and funding the diamond business and supplying the money that the diamond business needs to operate. These are the, I don't know what they are, the leaders that are coming from their organization. They're elected by all kinds of things, but they're not Americans most. Anyways, I'm asking for support for the G7, Rapaport G7 protocol, which is simple. Customs is the beginning and the end of any government sanction program. That's it. No more. Now, so we'll get online petitions to communicate to your legislative representative. We will send messages to the president, secretary of state. I'm hoping to get thousands of signatures. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe no one cares. Maybe, and I think that's what the World Diamond Council is bet on as they try to rush through their horrible G7 things. But, I think people need to wake up and become aware of where they are and what's going on. That's the warning. What am I warning you guys about? If you sit there, you do nothing, you're pretty much going to get destroyed by people who are moving forward various agendas for their self-interest. So that's one action plan. Another action plan is OFAC. I explained it. Sign our petition requesting. Now, we're not doing this right now. We're going to send you an email. We're going to take you to a website. We're going to let you do it properly. But let's get a good petition going to OFAC saying, we want an answer. Can we or can we not import Russian source diamonds that are cut outside of Russia? And if they say you can, it's not bothering me with all these sanctions. I'm not saying that as an ethical company, we shouldn't stop buying Russian goods. RapNet will not allow Russian goods on our trading network, and we're the largest network in the world. But we have to enforce it more, a lot of things here. So now it's a question of law. It's not a question of voluntarily agreeing to some kind of a program. I support all those voluntary programs. That's great. But now we're dealing with law. We're dealing with an organization that is coming to us and saying, we're going to control how you do business in America, sir, because it's in our interest. No. Oh, no. No. How can we stand up to the State Department telling us, but if you don't do this, then it's going to get worse? First of all, we can tell the State Department, we love you, you're wonderful, thank you for all the good things you do. You have none of your business. It's not your business what we do in America with diamonds. Go overseas, as you'll see they are. Go to Zimbabwe. So I do not accept this one bit. So we have to go to our legislators and say, please protect us. Protect us from WDC, protect us from G7, mostly protect us from the State Department. Now, so that's the second action plan for now. And the third one is synthetic diamonds. We write a petition. Look, we can't tell people not to buy synthetic diamonds. It's a legitimate product if people want to sell it legitimately. But we can say you cannot sell these diamonds and compare them to natural diamonds in every aspect, except omission. I didn't tell you that the prices are going down to the extent that it's going to be $10 a carat, or I'm just not telling you in general, they don't hold value. They don't hold value. I sell you, here's a bag, nice bag. Today people have the paper bags. Here's another bag. The second bag is just like the first bag, except it's got holes in the bottom. I didn't tell you that. I show you, it looks very pretty. Bottom line is we need to protect our interests as the United States jewelry industry, and we can't rely on these trade organizations to do it. All right, I need help. Help, help, help. It's not just the issue of help that we can't do this without the help and cooperation of members of the trade. We need volunteers to help us coordinate and communicate our positions to local legislators and administration officials. But if you're not interested, if the trade is not interested, I'm not killing myself. I'll sit back, I'll watch what happens, see all these people go out of business, watch them implement all kinds of strange, weird, horrible, compliance issues. I'll sit back and watch it. So the game of it's like, if you want to work with us and help, yeah. If no one cares about this, why should I care about it? So this is the help thing is really serious. We need help. If this is going to happen, we need to work together as a team. We need to coordinate. Everybody can take part in the effort. Our greatest value is our connections as the industry and an innate ability to be personal. I mean, come on, call up your local congressman. They'll love you. They'll love to talk to you. They're waiting for some people to call them. Elections are coming. What are we, about a year? October, September. I beg of you, talk. Even you like Rapaport, you don't like Rapaport, you like what I'm saying, you don't like what I'm saying. Get to know your local congressman, get to know your senator. Say hello to him. You have to give him money. Give him your vote if you like. And I don't care, Republicans, Democrats, I couldn't give a hoot. Please make connections. There's one thing we know about the jewelry industry, that one of the most valuable things we have is connections. If real estate is location, 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 the diamond and jewelry business is connections, connections, connections. Make connections. So as we head into the election season, your local legislators will be eager to talk with you. They want to understand your issues and help you. I believe that. I have had the opportunity to talk to many congressmen. I know that they are sincere. It doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican. Our issues transcend partisanship. Everybody wants to take care of these jewelers that are out there. They are voters, they are people, and they're influential in their community. We're asking our representatives to protect us from unfair competition. Unfair competition. Here, let me give you some compliance stuff that you can choke on so the big guys can take over your business. And foreign G7 government intervention. What the hell are these G7 countries doing, telling us in America how to sell our diamonds and our jewelry? What are they, crazy? They can't tell us in America what to do. Okay, and I believe that the Congress people, you can make connections with your Congress people. Bottom line, the jewelry industry wants to get out of this mess. they're going to have to make sure that the government is with them and not against them. So I hope I'm talking a little. I'm not ashamed of what I'm saying because I honestly believe all this every word now. So let's talk about the World Diamond Council for a minute. I got a problem with the World Diamond Council. Actually, I'm one of the few people probably on this call that was in Kimberley to start the Kimberley process. And I spent 4 years of my life. And I was there at the founding of the World Diamond Council. So I believe we had to stop a war in Sierra Leone. By the way, we're going to Sierra Leone. I'm going 15th of October. If you really want to have a life experience, come with me. But the issue here was that it's terrible what's going on with this World Diamond Council. First of all, they're going to the Kimberley process. The Kimberley process is certifying Russian diamonds, Zimbabwe diamonds, any diamonds. Whether they kill people, they don't kill people, they rape women, they don't rape women, doesn't matter. No problem. Here's your certificate, sir. And that's a legitimate diamond. And the United States passed the Clean Diamond Act. If anyone wants to see something cute, just type in Martin Rapaport congressional record and you'll see how I supported it. But the bottom line from this is that the Kimberley process now is about as corrupt as they come. And the diamond industry supposedly saying they represent us, me. Oh, it's wonderful. So and it's an interesting thing. The World Diamond Council was created to support the Kimberley process, which is only rough diamonds. And now they want to expand their mandates. Not only are they screwing up the rough diamond business with their certification of blood diamonds, now they're going to the polished business, more greenwashing. So their efforts to represent the large companies. They're cynically using the issue of responsible sourcing to create national laws, not voluntary, national laws that require unacceptable compliance requirements that are going to force all companies out of the trade, reduce competition, and destroy our markets. The WDC wants market power for the big companies of funding. That's how I see this. Oh, maybe they're working altruistically. I don't buy it. They have interests, and they're there to protect the interests of those that fund them. The WDC holds the sole representative of the diamond trade. It's time we stop this misrepresentation. I'm calling on members of the diamond trade to officially resign from the WDC and send them notice that they are not to be represented them in any way. We will be sending an email with a link for such registrations notice shortly. In other words, I am taking a strong position about the World Diamond Council. While they were doing things that were unethical and I cried about it, I was a crybaby. Now they're trying to destroy our markets, trying to destroy competition. I'm no longer going to be a crybaby. Now is the time that I have to take a very strong move against them and say, no, not now, not coming in controlling how we're going to do business in America. Absolutely not. You cannot destroy our markets. You cannot hurt our small people. Now, we're in ethical issues here. And that's kind of what I do always say. You got to understand the ethical issues. And maybe I'm crazy, but I'm going to tell you what I think. We're 2 days away from Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, which is a time of reflection, a time of asking forgiveness, a time of prayer, a time for really saying we're sorry for the stuff we did. And wouldn't you know it, the Jains in India, I hope Hari Usha. Hari Usha win the second day of Hari Usha. I believe it's a 7-day. And both of these holidays are an opportunity for ask forgiveness. So I too ask for forgiveness. And a lot of people are not going to forgive me for dropping diamond prices as I do, but I do ask for forgiveness. And I do want to say the words that they say in India, I hope Michami Dukadam, which means forgive me for any of the transgressions that I have made. And let me tell you this, guys. I believe in God. And I believe in karma. Maybe if you don't believe in God, you can still believe in karma. Pay it forward. Good deeds. The issue of synthetic diamonds and sanctions didn't come from nowhere. I mean, if you believe in a God and you believe that there's karma, all of a sudden we're getting whacked. Synthetics, all of a sudden we're getting whacked. Sanctions. It's not a good vibe. Our industry is trading in blood diamonds that cause suffering. It should be clear that we cannot prosper because of the suffering of others. Can't do it. It's bad karma. If we continue trading in blood diamonds, we do not deserve to remain in this business. It's not laws. It's not State Department. It's not G7. It's not Russian sanctions. It's us. We human beings have to be human. And we cannot trade in diamonds that people are getting hurt over. If we do that, we're in direct conflict with everything our diamonds represent, everything we should believe in. So let's not have a diamond business. Now, I'm not saying the majority of the diamonds help people tremendously, so don't get me wrong, but we cannot sit here and officially World Diamond Council kosher these terrible diamonds. We can't do that. It's horrible. Now, look at the governments. The governments have interests. So good governments try to be ethical, but often they cannot be ethical. They're not. If they got to deal with nuclear issues, well, they're dealing with higher level issues than ethics. So they have strategic interests that are more important than ethics. Certainly national security interests down. But sometimes governments do bad things because we in the industry do not guide them properly. We don't speak up. We just let it happen. For example, take a look at this. The United States sanctions the Zimbabwean government, and then the United States State Department votes them in as the chair of the Kimberley process. I mean, it's not talking out of two sides of your mouth. It's being two people. It's being too fast. But it's okay if there's nuclear reasons or there's national strategic reasons. Not the president. It's his job. But I am saying to you that when I see things like this, I say to myself, no, this is not right. This is not correct. And I have to say, so we have to say something as an industry. Let me see if I can get onto the right screen here. Now, I'm going to say something here that I feel very strongly about. We're coming to the end of this. The World Diamond Council and the Kimberley process is meeting in Zimbabwe this November 6th to 10th. WDC representatives will be feasting in Victoria Falls as millions of people in Zimbabwe are starving. Take a look at the World Food Program. Take a look at what's going on there. Not just that, all the doctors are leaving, everybody's leaving due to the corrupt Zimbabwean government, who happen to be the hosts. This can't be right. No. You cannot go to Zimbabwe, say everything's okay. That country is a failed state. That country is just horrible. People are terrible. And the people who are destroying the lives of their own government people are destroying the lives. These government people, getting Kimberley process certificates, sending the diamonds to the UAE, no problem, getting the money, everything's kosher. No. I'm talking karma. You do this kind of stuff, don't expect the diamond industry to be successful. I don't know if it's going to be next synthetic diamond, some other problem. If we want a legitimate industry, you cannot allow this. Now, I'm going to be fasting for 3 days. Last time I did this was when Zimbabwe was let into the Kimberley process. November 7th to the 9th, I'm going to be fasting personally. I'll drink water, but that's it. 3 days in solidarity with the people starving in Zimbabwe and in protest against the WDC participation in the Kimberley process. I don't know how anybody can go to this Victoria Falls things and eat like that or feast like they feast, I fast. Calling on the diamond and jewelry trade to fast with me for 1 day, not 3 days, 1 day. Tuesday, November 7th. I know it's before Rosh Hashanah, so maybe I'm feeling more spiritual, but we as an industry we deserve 1 day to fast. Fast for our industry, fast for our families, fast for ourselves. Let us take a day to reflect on who we are, what we do, and what we stand for. Stop a day. Spiritual reflection. Go to work. Pray for others that are less fortunate than us. There are so many. And let's pray for ourselves. Who are we? What kind of people are we? What is this diamond jewelry industry? I'm not just talking about people in Africa. How do we deal with our clients? How do we deal with our employees? How do we deal with all this stuff? We should pray that we should be worthy of what we have and what we do. Don't take diamonds for granted. And don't take the diamond industry for granted. Don't take anything for granted. It has to be nurtured. It has to be properly developed. Let me give you the conclusion here. About 6:20. We're in for a bit of a bumpy ride over the next year or so. Don't let it shake you. Don't let it freak you out. Expect the bumps. Slow down. Slow down. There will be unprecedented changes. Real diamond business repossessions itself in the face of stiff competition from synthetics. Fashion jewelry for sure. Fight over fine jewelry. Synthetics will lose bridle, but probably take over the big fashion jewelry. And big fashion jewelry is very big. Globalization is over. And countries no longer making nice with each other. Economic warfare will intensify. Sanctions will proliferate. Not just from the US, but to the US. You think China's going to sit there all day and say, well, we're not going to sell you this and that. They're not going to sell us rare earth minerals these days. There's going to be This friction is not going to get less. I hope it does. I pray it does. But realistically speaking, the trend that we're going into right now, we had a big trend of what I would call globalization. And now we have a trend of deglobalization, breaking out. This BRIC thing is a good example of that, but China in general is. The outlook for communist China is uncertain. Good luck selling diamonds to communists, but they're not communists, but they are communists, but they're capitalist economists. Not economists, capitalist communists. They're kind of not sure where they are right now. And it's interesting, they're going through this transition. I imagine the premier there or the president there is doing things. India, UAE, and Africa will play both sides. They'll be in the middle. Asia is going to be good, especially the dollar takes a hit, which is very, very well if China says only pay me in one. But remember this, if you're in the diamond business, you're in the jewelry business, America is your home. America is where the real money is. So you need to understand that America needs to take a leadership role. America has to work well. If America works well, the rest of the world will come and go. I think Asia is going to be fine. I think the Arab markets may be fine. Let's see what happens here. But we are in for an unsettling, disturbing period with greater uncertainty, ever greater uncertainty as we go along. If you're in the real diamond business, stay there. Real diamonds are going to be fine. Stay with it. Don't jump around. Stay focused. But go high. Good quality diamonds. Sell expensive stuff, my friends. Don't be afraid of diamonds. Don't be afraid to sell stuff that costs a lot of money. Go high. If the guy doesn't have money, customer. Well, you could sell ping pong balls tomorrow. Guy walked in the door. He wants to buy a hot dog. You can start selling hot dogs in your store. No. You're a diamond. You're a jeweler. Respect yourself. Go high. Learn to sell the specialness of diamonds. Recognize that diamonds are not for everybody. You shouldn't try to sell them to everyone that walks in your store. No. If your customer is only interested in price, they're not worthy of real diamonds. Not everybody deserves a diamond. Not everybody should buy a diamond. That was the original concept of diamonds. But send the diamonds, send these customers to Swarovski. No problem. Send them to some website that sells them all kinds of CZ or whatever it is, and maybe you'll even get a little commission. Don't deal on price. Remember, you're special. Your diamonds are special. Never forget that. Because if you don't understand the uniqueness, the specialness, the wonderfulness of what a real diamond is, get out of the business. Go away. Go away. The diamond business is for people that recognize the importance and the beauty, not just because it's shiny, but the real value of what that gift means to that woman. I gave her this really expensive thing. I gave her the best I could give her. You can feel that. You can understand that. Oh, I gave her something cheap. Goodbye. Not jewelers cannot make a good living selling cheap stuff. Sell expensive diamonds. Go high. Go up. Don't go down. Not the race to the bottom, the race to the heaven. Make yourself better. Make your store better. Sell beautiful products. Be proud of who you are and what you are. And now my conclusion. This issue of ethics, this issue of social responsibility, it's all there. It's on my mind every day. And I think about it a lot. And I just, can I tell you, when I was in Zimbabwe during the war, the State Department's idea to negotiate with Fodi Sanko, believe it or not. But I went to the amputee camp and I saw thousands of people, thousands with missing arms, missing legs, both. It's a little baby missing an arm. And they said to me, tell us what happened. Tell the world what happened here. And I did. I tried to. I wrote this article that was read into the Congressional Record. But my God, it's like we're so responsible for what we do, where we send our money, for what we buy. We are responsible for what we buy, for what we do. And we are having a major impact on other people in the world. Diamonds are. But it's really our money that we use to buy diamonds. It's having such an amazing thing. So let me lay it on to you. This is what I believe. There is a reason God gave diamonds to the poorest people in the world and made the wealthiest desire them. It's amazing. Think about it. And even Russia, where we complain about Russia, Mirny is treating their people well. I've been in Mirny. I've seen what they do there. And they do help people out there. But this is the game that we see. Bridging the gap between the poor people and the rich people because of the diamonds is tikkun olam, which is a Hebrew phrase for fixing the world. And that's why the diamond trade exists. That's why we're around. We're around to fix the world by ensuring that the poor people that God gave the diamond to get their fair share and then can survive and can do well. And the question to the diamond industry and the people on this call, especially to the American jewelry industry, are you up to diamonds? You personally, are we up to diamonds as an industry? And I think we should be, and I think we are mostly. I think there's a tremendous amount of good things that are going on as well. But we cannot live with this cancer, this blood diamond stuff, this Kimberly process. And so we have to step away from it. And we have to do the right things. We should support all kinds of systems that help us. And I like volunteer systems because it'll be competition. In other words, if I sell a better diamond than you, it doesn't have to be a better color. Maybe it has a better certification that it's helping people in the world. What, a diamond that helps people isn't worth more than a diamond that doesn't help people? So fair trade diamonds and other things like that. So we need to work on this high level concept of making sure that we can fix the world with our diamonds. And that's what I honestly believe. So I wish you all a happy Jewish New Year, a year of health, a year of wealth, a year of prosperity, a year of self-realization, real self-realization, a real that we take the time to think about what's really going on with the diamond industry. It's a shame that we have to have a crisis of prices falling 25% and De Beers prices decline 29%, revenue declining. But it's getting our attention. So we should then use that energy to see what we're doing and how we can do things better. And I promise you one thing, we will be here for you, to work with you, to help with you, to share with you, and also as we go after this government business, chasing the congressmen and the senators that can help us out of this terrible situation that's come up with this G7 protocol and stuff, or sanctions, or other things that are happening like synthetic diamonds, because the government has a role to play. So I'll be here, we'll be here. I think the Rapaport team will be here, and we'll try to help everybody as best as we can. And don't forget, just send me a message. Now, I won't read every email maybe, but my team will. So I just want to wish you all a very healthy, happy, and wealthy, and a good new year. And I hope a year of betterness, a year where diamonds are really doing well, and we are doing well, and people are doing well, and a year of lots of marriages and lots of love and lots of happiness. So that's my closing on this thing. And then I will try to answer some questions as Joshua, hopefully you can pull them out. All right, I'm here to answer some questions. Wow, we're at 6:28. It's what have we been on this game here? An hour and a half. Okay. So it's a well. So Joshua, should I answer any questions or should I run away?
Yeah, I think we should close it down. There's some questions, some insights on how you should be lobbying this instead of just petitions and things like this. How we're going to actually lobby.
Give me those good questions. All right, give me those good questions. Look, first of all, lobbying, it's relationship building. You want to find out who your congressman is. We'll give you the information so that you know what to say to him about sanctions, what to say to him about synthetics, what to say to him about OFAC. Look, I've only taken three things. Okay. Sanctions, OFAC, and synthetics. Those are the three things. Synthetics, Federal Trade Commission, disclosure requirement. OFAC, we just want an answer. Russian source diamonds, yes. Russian source diamonds, no. And that's pretty straightforward. And regarding the question of what to do about this G7 proposal, we want support for our proposal. We want a very simple, straightforward way to control the flow of Russian diamonds into the United States using U.S. customs. We will explain it. I'll give you videos on it. If you need to, we'll even have someone talk to him, but get to know your congressman. Not even a question. And you may already know him. I have a lot of respect for the jewelers out there. Look, we have jewelers in every single district, and they know all the important people in the community. So we need to just reach out. It's not now, in terms of signing petitions, you're going to get something from us. It'll be an email. It'll say, we would like you to sign the following thing. Like, for example, we would like you to support the Rapaport G7. Well, you click, you put in your name, your kind of thing, and you click, and you say, okay, I'm supporting it. That's all. If you're going to want to talk to someone, a congressperson, then we have to get together and we have to say, okay, what should we say to the guy? We should give him a letter that describes exactly what we're after. And we ask him to please bring it up. Let a letter from the congressman go to OFAC and say, my constituent would like an answer to this question. And I think we can get 100 congressmen to do this. 100. And I'd like to see OFAC or the administration, they can ignore. I'm a little 100 congressmen. They're not going to know. So we need to force the hands of government through our legislative branch. And that's where we have to go. But we're not going to spend money on big, campaigners. No. Just personal relationships, getting to know people. And we're going to make a list of congressmen, I guess, of people and say, are we able to get this guy on our list? I'm going to have to hire somebody who's going to look after this with us. We will, not asking people for money yet or not, whatever, but I think we need people that really care about these issues that I brought up. Joshua, what else have we got? Give me some of these questions. They're important.
Yeah, question, what do you think of the agreement between the government of Botswana and De Beers?
I think it's good. Look, let me just say that the government of Botswana isn't ready to do the diamond marketing dance yet. I don't think De Beers is either, but first of all, you have a hole in the ground and you need expertise. And I do believe De Beers are the best people in the world to do that. And they have ethical responsibility. De Beers is a decent company. I mean, every now and then they try to wiggle out and do some kind of stuff because they got a lot of employees, but they stay in their box, they're fine. Now, the question there is going to be marketing. So helping them with the mining, they have a mining agreement that they signed. No brainer. Now the question is the marketing. The question is the Botswana brand. I think I'm very pleased to see that De Beers realizes that the diamond engagement ring approach is ludicrous, crazy, Maybe they want to experiment with some nuclear weapons, bad decision making, but nobody's perfect. The issue now in front of De Beers and Botswana is how you're going to sell those diamonds. You lose $2 billion. I'm telling you, I'm looking at $2 billion. 5.7 billion goes to 4.1 billion. What is that? 1.7, right? That's money that used to come in that's no longer coming in. You need to do something here to get that money back. You need to sell real diamonds. You need to market them. You need to make people desire them. De Beers walking away from that is a catastrophe for them, and they'll feel it now. They've milked everything you can milk from the momentum that existed. They got a new generation of consumers that look at them and say, I can buy a synthetic diamond. I don't need you. I don't want you. I don't like you, Mr. De Beers. So they have to support the jewelers. Things like, what do you call it? Where they put down money and the jeweler puts down co-op advertising. Look, still the same 3-stone ring program again, the exact same program if you can't figure anything out. But you got to do something. If you don't do something, you're going to lose that revenue. You can't take advantage. You can't imagine that it's going to happen. So the marketing is the trick between this agreement between De Beers and Botswana. And if De Beers can actually do what they used to be able to do, which is to do good marketing to the consumer, to explain why they should buy real diamonds and pay 10% more than something else. If they can do that, then they're definitely a wonderful agreement. If they don't, they can't do that. We're going to see more trouble in the pipeline here, a lot of trouble. And I think Botswana is going to feel it very painful. I remember the last time when we had these problems and De Beers stopped paying Botswana in November, December, I think it was terrible. So Botswana is very reliant on diamond revenue. So I hope that with De Beers, and I don't see any problem. De Beers is a wonderful company in so many ways. Again, I don't like what they're trying to do with this World Diamond Council. I'm very opposed to that. But I hope they'll be able to work with Botswana to create a Botswana brand, to be able to explain to people that this is a wonderful thing. And I must emphasize again, De Beers is doing a lot of things right. They're doing a lot of good things. Okay. So I think it's a good deal. I don't think there would have been a better partner for the government of Botswana. I note that the Botswana is now taking goods over to Okavango. So they'll get to 50% in 10 years or whatever. But they're learning themselves how to market their products, which is also very healthy. And De Beers is helping them. So I'm positive on it. Something else, Joshua. Give me another good question. Joshua's on mute.
Many of the questions are just like repeating, a lot of them are repeating themselves of why on our lab grown called diamonds. We should
that's you could talk to they're first of all, you can't call them diamonds. You can call them synthetic diamonds, lab grown diamonds, strange diamonds, cheap diamonds. I don't know. No, you can't call them cheap. You can't use the word diamonds without prefacing it with the word that indicates that. So they're not diamonds. The fact that jewelers lie about it or present them as real diamonds, that's because jewelers are not, some jewelers are not telling the truth. But the Federal Trade Commission took that decision. Ask yourself, you have a cute question? You guys want to think about something here? Let's imagine that we were able to create through some chemical process synthetic gold. Synthetic gold. Now you can detect it, but it's only like, I don't know, $1 an ounce. Okay. Synthetic gold. We have machines, crank it out, crank it out, crank it out. How would the jewelry industry relate to that? You can call it gold, you can call it synthetic gold to the Federal Trade Commission, you can give it the name. What would happen? Well, eventually people would find out that synthetic gold is like cubic zirconium, moissanite, or some other product. This product differentiation has to take place. It is unfortunate that people are taking advantage of the word diamond and to fool consumers into thinking that it's the real thing. It's not the real thing. And it's not even like Avis used to say, we're number 2. It's not number 2. It's CZ on steroids. And CZ sells for $3.50 a carat. So it's an unfortunate thing. But I think that we are going to get buffeted by this continuously as new generations of consumers with new ideas of what they can and should buy emerge. What else, Joshua? One more or two more?
One more thing about the grading laboratories. What can we do again? That people are saying that the fact that GA and other labs are grading as the diamonds is causing great harm to the diamonds.
Yeah, I'll tell you something.
What can be done against that?
Well, I love GIA, but they've made a really silly mistake here. I'm sorry to hear they had to let go 151 people. And, whoever paid $520 or whatever $1 million for IGI is getting a wake-up call. The truth is that this stuff's going to crap. It's going down the toilet. So, I don't know. Why not start grading CZ? And you can give me VVS1, VVS2, VVS92. I don't know how you want to grade this stuff, but, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous because everybody's going to be creating FVVS plus diamonds, synthetic diamonds. They're going to be around like borscht, no problem, unlimited supply. And GI's grading them is a mistake. People make mistakes. They're a wonderful company. They're a wonderful culture. They try to do the right thing. I mean, I guess they couldn't, they wanted to see the money, but they honestly may have believed that it's their job to communicate to people the quality of products. And this is a product. I don't know why they're not doing other products like rubies, emeralds, sapphires. How's that? Okay. But this was easy to do and it was available. And you know what it was? We got high. Diamond industry got drunk. Everybody. De Beers, GIA, IGA, everybody, the jewelers, Signet. Whoa, totally drunk. This is the greatest product in the. I love Prime Minister Modi. Fantastic individual, great leader. Got him wrong. Yeah, you know what's going to happen? These wafers that they be cut by laser machines that are going to turn out in Malay or turn out these kind of synthetic diamonds, like for peanuts. You ever ask how is it possible that you can have beautifully cut cubic zirconium for $3.50 for a 1 carat stone? $3.50. And it's 2 carat to give you the same price, 3.5 carat per carat. How is that possible? How do they cut the stuff? Look at Swarovski cutting stuff. The technology of cutting synthetics is going to happen. And Prime Minister Modi, with all due respect, you're not going to increase your labor in India. The contrary, what you're doing is you're destroying the labor in India. I hope that won't happen, but I think India is pretty much at the end of its game with regards to diamonds. I think Botswana is the place to go. I know I am personally going to go into Botswana. Not October, after I go to Sierra Leone, which is a tough place. Let me tell you, baby, it's tough out there. Mosquito nets, you got all kinds of things, the water, electricity, and we're going up country to the Peace Diamond Village, to Koyardu. And then I'm going to Botswana. I think I'll be there around the 23rd or something of October. And I think Botswana is the new game in town. I think Botswana will succeed. I think Botswana will cut more diamonds. I think India will cut less diamonds. Indian companies might be there, which is fine, but I think the future of diamonds is Botswana, not India. And I think that they made mistakes with the cubic zirconia, with the synthetics, and it'll cost them. The damage to the industry that we have created, that has been created here, because people have been told, you got to get engaged, you can do it cheaper, you can do it cheaper. I got a I got something that came to me on LinkedIn from a young woman who told me that her boyfriend had taken her to the top of the Eiffel Tower and proposed to her with a synthetic diamond. She felt so upset about it that I don't know what else happened, but she didn't marry the guy in the end. And she said, you had said there was some movie I was in, and I said that women, not just women, it could be gays, it could be other people. I'm not anti whatever it is, gender or whatever, but women are like projecting the value of the diamond onto themselves. See how much he loves me? See how much he spent on me? And the fact that it doesn't have any utility. I mean, how far are you going to go with a woman in America? You buy a washing machine. You buy a washing machine in Sierra Leone, it's something, but it's not function. It's the fact that the diamond doesn't have any utility, but it's still given as an expensive gift that makes it so valuable emotionally. Never underestimate the value of emotions and the value of creating those emotions. So this young woman said that I was absolutely horrified and stuff. And then to which she saw what I said, that you can produce that women, she said, that's exactly how I felt. You kind of made me feel better because I didn't think I was crazy when I felt that he gave me this thing. So I think that this idea that we've been trying to express to the millennials and to Gen Z, to the extent that they are getting married, which I don't know if they're up to it yet, it's a shame. It's a long-term damage. And I think we're going to have to fix it. The bears will have to fix it. Jewelers will have to fix it. So that's going to cost us. And we're going to have to now claw back the engagement ring market. I think we will. I don't think it's going to be a problem because, again, they'll be cheap. But I got a big warning to the fine jewelry sector. We can win it. If we get off our butts, we can win it. But fashion jewelry, I'm afraid, is, and it's competition. That's what God created the world. He created fashion jewelry, he created people. I'm not freaking out. It is what it is. But we have to fight for the fine jewelry business. And that price differential there. Wow. We're going to have to justify it. And that's going to be a very big challenge. And I think that the Bears has to work it out for them. We, jewelers on the front lines, we have to train them. We have to, used to have the Diamond Promotion Service. We have to train them that they have to counter this idea that you can just give a gift that, doesn't matter. I'll just buy the cheaper thing. And, in the end, we have to be up to diamonds. We have to be up to diamonds. We have to recognize diamonds are special.